Hey everybody, and welcome to our first yoga video. Today we're going to be working through some basic vinyasa. Basic vinyasa is simply working through the poses of yoga. So right now we're going to go ahead and start with what's called pranayama breathing. Pranayama breathing is whenever you breathe in through your nose and then back out through your nose. But when you're breathing out, you have this roughness in the back of your throat, sounding like this. Excellent. So this is how we're going to breathe through all of our poses. Now here's a couple yoga props. You're always ready for yoga if you have 2 blocks, if you have a yoga strap, which you can use a towel, blanket, hoodie, tie, whatever you got, and a mat. You need a mat or a towel. Do not practice on your rug or on hardwood. Also, absolutely no socks. Get rid of them. Just throw them away. All right, so what we're going to begin with today, we're going to begin sitting in a cross-legged position once I adjust the kittens. And we're going to go ahead and begin with some gentle neck rolling. So go ahead and start rolling your neck slowly and gently, starting on the right hand side. And go ahead and move slowly and work out any kinks or any rough spots in your neck. And now we're going to go ahead and go back in the opposite direction. So if you started rolling to the right, go ahead and switch it up and roll to the left. And there's Luke adjusting the kittens. Yep, those kittens just really needed adjusted today. So now we're going to do a side neck stretch. So take your right hand, put it right above your left ear, and let your left arm come out. And you should feel a stretch from your neck all the way down to your left fingertips. Make sure your shoulders are down in this pose. Go ahead and give them a little roll and switch sides. Go ahead and lift your left hand up and put it on the right, above your right ear, and then put your right hand out, and you should feel that stretch go all the way down to your right fingertips. This is an excellent stretch to begin. All right, so now go ahead and roll on to your hands and knees. We're gonna get into a tabletop position. So right here, you're gonna wanna make sure that your wrist and your shoulder are in the same line, and your knee and your hip is in the same line, and your hips are square. So there's no weird adjustments that you need to make in your hips. They should be square. Now we're gonna go ahead and do some cat and cow. So right now we're in cow face pose where your chest is out and your back is arched. Now we're moving into cat. You're going to exhale into this. Inhale into cow face. Exhale into cat. Inhale into cow face. This is going to warm up your spine. One more round. Exhale. All right, now what we're gonna do is put our hands a handprint in front of where they were before, and then lift our hips into our first downward facing dog of the day. So your calves are probably super duper tight like mine were, so go ahead and do a little bit of super slow bicycles. Yes, go ahead and work those calves out, okay? So looking at my form right now, you should try to keep your back as straight as you can. And as long as your back is straight, your knees can be bent, okay? We want the back straight first, the knees and legs will follow. And don't worry about getting those heels down. This is where I was today. And notice that my arms are in line with my ears when my head was down. When your head's down, you should be looking right between your ankles. Now I'm doing a big calf stretch. I bent my knees. Now I'm straightening them a little bit more, just stretching out my spine. This is my first yoga of the day. Awesome. I'm getting ready to move to standing. Okay, so we're still in downward dog. Do some deep breathing here, and we're gonna step our right foot and then our left foot up. We're gonna go ahead and stretch out. We're gonna have a flat back. Now we're gonna stretch and kind of roll down over our knees and then stand up into what's called mountain pose. All right, so let's actually get into mountain pose, which is standing in an awesome way. Mountain pose is simply having your ankles, knees, hips, shoulders all in the same line. So your spine is completely stacked. Your chest is basically being pulled by an invisible string, and your head is straight and your shoulders are down. This is mountain pose. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and you don't have to turn. I just turned so you can see what I was doing. We're doing some side bends. So we're going to go ahead and lift our right arm and go ahead and bend to the left. Don't hunch. Make sure that your chest is going towards the ceiling. And switch sides, left arm up. Go ahead and bend to the right. Make sure your chest is facing the ceiling, not the floor. You don't want to do that. No, no, no. Go ahead and make sure that you're facing up towards the ceiling. You should be getting a really good side stretch, and make sure those shoulders stay down. Don't let them creep up by your ears. Don't let them come up. All right, hope you love my awesome Monata shirt. I'm repping Monata today, you guys. All right, so now we're gonna move into 4 rounds of Vinyasa. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get ready to do our sun salutations. Get used to doing these. We're gonna do them every single time. So go ahead and reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Now bend with a flat back. Now go ahead and bend over and bend your knees. Flat back up, inhale. Exhale, hands on the ground. Okay, inhale into a plank. Now lower down, chest to the ground. Hands right next to your ribs, and a very, very small cobra. Okay, excellent. Inhale into your chest here. And then we're going to move into an upward facing dog, which my palms and my feet are the only things on the ground. Exhale back into downward facing dog and take a few breaths here. This is a basic sun salutation one. We're going to do it again. Step with your right foot. Inhale up, flat back, straight knees, touch the ground. Go ahead and bend over your knees. Exhale. All right, inhale up, arms toward the sky. We're saluting the sun. Now, and go ahead and prayer hands to the chest. Inhale. Exhale with that restriction in the back of the throat there. Flat back. Exhale down. Inhale up. Right footsteps. Plank. Lower down. Up into upward facing dog. My palms and my feet are the only things that are touching, but you can do cobra if you like. And we're back into down dog. I needed to do a couple more calf stretches there because I was still a little tight. Moving a little slow today. Gonna do it again. Now I jumped up. You do not have to jump. You can just simply step, but if you're ready to jump, make sure that your hips are over your legs and you kind of swing your hips forward. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to chest. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Bend forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale. If you're going to jump to plank, make sure you land with your elbows bent, elbows above wrists. Upward facing dog, back into down dog. Okay? Pause it if I'm going too fast. Go ahead and jump if you want, or step. All right, arms up, inhale, exhale, mountain pose. Inhale. Exhale down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, hands to the ground. Hold it, jump or step to plank. We're gonna go ahead and step our right foot back. And we're in a high lunge, which is called crescent pose. Okay, so make sure your hips are forward, your knees above your ankle, your shoulders are down, and your arms are up. Breathe deeply into your chest here. We're gonna hold this for a couple breaths. Try to hold that form there. Might be a little bit difficult to stand still in a pose. All right, step back into plank. We're going to roll forward into upward facing dog. Exhale back into down dog. All right, we're going to go through a vinyasa. So jump forward, stretch up, flat back, stretch down, exhale, stand up. There I go, stumbling about. Inhale, arms up, exhale, down. Flat back if you can. Exhale, inhale. There's a kitten. All right, go ahead and step your left foot back. So we should be on the opposite foot right now. Now we're in high crescent. All right, go ahead and make sure your hips are forward, knees above ankle, shoulders are down, arms are up. We're gonna breathe into this pose for a little bit. All right, hands down, step back into plank. Inhale into upward facing dog, exhale into downward facing dog. Step or jump forward, inhale, flat back, exhale, bend over your knees. Inhale, up, exhale, hand to chest, inhale, exhale, hands down, inhale, flat back, exhale, step or jump into plank. If you jump, make sure your arms are bent. Inhale into upward facing dog or cobra. All right, we're back in a downward facing dog. I have my right leg up and I'm doing a little bit of a hip stretch here. So you can bend that leg, do a little hip stretch. Go ahead and step your right hand up next to your right hand, not in the middle, next to the right hand. There you go. Now we're going to go ahead and flatten our left foot. So both heels should be lined up right now. We're in Warrior One pose. Make sure that your knee is over your ankle. Make sure your hips are forward and make sure your arms are up and your shoulders don't creep up near your ears. Keep those shoulders down. I'm going to breathe into this for a couple of breaths. Make sure that when you're breathing, we're still doing pranayama. All right, hands to the ground, step back into plank. All right, inhale into your chest, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg up. Bend that left leg and get a little hip stretch in there. I'm gonna go ahead and straighten that. Oh, we're not gonna straighten it. We're just gonna bring it right through next to your left hand when you bring that up, okay? Make sure that both of your heels are in line. Your knee is above your ankle. You're tracking with your middle toes and nothing's weird with your knee. Make sure that your hips are high, your shoulders are down, and your arms are up. We're in Warrior One pose. We're gonna hold this for a couple rounds of breath. Luke must be chatting with me. I keep looking over at the camera. Whenever you're breathing, make sure you're sticking with that pranayama. No mouth breathing. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. All right, I'm like, what's next? All right, next we're gonna move through a round of vinyasa. So plank into upward facing dog, inhale through the chest, exhale, downward facing dog. Right on, what are we gonna do now? Probably Warrior Two, I believe. All right, take a couple deep breaths here in downward facing dog. Technically, downward facing dog is a rest pose. Go ahead and jump forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bend over your knees. Inhale, stand up to mountain. Exhale, hands to chest. All right, fix your shirt. Awesome. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, hands to the floor. Bend over your knees. Inhale into your chest. Step or hop back into plank. Inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up. Step it exactly in between those two hands if you can do it. All right, right in between. Flip your left leg back and flat, so make sure your front heel is lined up with your back arch as I'm pointing. Make sure that right knee is right over your right ankle. Keep your shoulders down, arms up, looking over that right hand, right over your fingertips into the distance. I'm looking out my door. Go ahead and breathe deeply here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bend forward a little bit more and move into reverse Warrior Two. Okay, so go ahead and place your left arm above your knee, do a big stretch. Now we're going to go ahead and do a side angle stretch. Put your right arm on your right knee, Go ahead and lift your left arm and do a big side stretch. If you're ready to stretch a little bit more, you can move your hand right to the floor. I was ready for a bigger stretch. It's okay if you're not. Go ahead and cartwheel those arms back to the mat and to plank. Move into upward facing dog. Inhale, downward facing dog. Okay, have a little break here. Left leg up. Make sure you place it right in between both of those hands. Boom, right there. Flip your right leg or your right foot flat. Your left heel should line up with your right arch. Fix your shirt if you need to. Make sure that your knee is over your ankle. Nothing's off with your tracking. Shoulders back, don't let them creep up. Arms up and arrow straight, and look over your left fingertips into the distance. Once again, I'm looking at my door. Breathe deeply here. All right, we're gonna go ahead and stretch a little bit further down. Make sure your hand is not pushing on your knee, above or below the knee for reverse. And then go ahead and move into a side angle pose with your left arm on your left knee. Or if you want a bigger stretch, you can move it right on down to the floor. I was ready for a bigger stretch. If you're not, that is okay. Keep it on the knee. As long as you feel a stretch, you stay where you're at. Cartwheel your arms back down to the mat. Exhale, inhale into upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale into downward facing dog. Take a break here for a second. And by break, I mean just hold a down dog. But if it gets to be too much, you can pause this. You're in control. Go ahead and step or jump. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bend over your knees. Inhale, mountain pose. Fix your shirt. Inhale, exhale, flat back. Inhale and exhale, bend over your knees. Inhale, flat back. Exhale. Inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. What could be next? Right foot up, back foot is flat, warrior two. Make sure that your heel and your arch are lined up. Make sure your knees over your ankle again. Watch yourself there. Make sure your shoulders are down. Stare off into the distance over your right fingertips. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do a reverse warrior two again. And we're going to straighten that right knee because we're getting ready for Trikonasana, aka triangle pose. Notice that my legs look like a triangle. Okay, I'm trying to show you my hips. We're going to go ahead and move our hips to the left while we move our ribs to the right. And I was like, Luke, give me a block. So if you have a block or a book or anything, place it on the block there. This is a tool to help you get that stretch a little bit better. Okay, so both of your knees should be straight. Your hips should be square and your arms should be in a straight line. So you can either have your hand on the mat, your hand on your ankle, hand on your leg, not on your knee, hand on a block, hand on a book, whatever works for you to get that stretch. I was ready for my hand to be on the ground, okay? But make sure that those hips aren't out of line. Make sure that they're square, okay? So it should be like there's a pane of glass in front of you and behind you, keeping your body completely straight in that triangle, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and move back into warrior two. Cartwheel your arms down. Plank pose, inhale into upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're gonna do it on the other side now. So that is your left leg, I think that's up. Go ahead and place it in between your hands. We're in warrior two now, so your left heel should be lined up with your right arch. Make sure that your knee is over your ankle, your shoulders are down, and we're gonna move right into reverse warrior two. Make sure your hand is not pushing down on that knee. Go ahead and straighten your left leg. Move your hips over, I guess I'm moving to the right. Body over to the left as much as you can. When you can't move anymore, go ahead and hit the ground with your hand. You can use a block, hand on your leg. My hand was on the floor. And as you can see, my hips are totally square. So make sure that your back isn't like kind of leaning over. All right, we're moving back into warrior two now. Let's go ahead and bend that knee. Cartwheel your arms down to the mat. Step back into plank. Exhale down, inhale into upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale into downward facing dog. You guys are doing amazing so far. Once again, if you need to break, just give it a pause, give it a rest, and then come back to it. I'm going to go ahead and step or jump to standing. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bend over your knees. Inhale, mountain pose. All right, fix your shirt. Or tuck in your shirt so you don't have to fix it so much. All right. So we're actually going to go ahead and put our feet on the edges of the mat, on either side of the mat, and we're going to drop into a squat, okay? Whenever you're in your squat, make sure your knee is over your ankle and tracking over your toes. They shouldn't be, like moving in or moving out. They should be directly over your middle toes, okay? So make sure you protect that knee. Make sure that your lower back is completely straight, and you should be feeling a big hip stretch here, okay? Breathe deeply here. Don't forget your pranayama breathing. In through the nose. Exhale through the nose with that constriction in the back of the throat. All right, gonna go ahead and move back into downward facing dog. With a little stretch. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move into plank. Lower down, inhale upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale downward facing dog. Jump to seated. Go ahead and try that trick. All right, go ahead and sit with your legs out in front of you. So I have a yoga strap. If you don't have a strap, use a blanket that's rolled up, use a hoodie, use your t-shirt, whatever it is that you can use to wrap around the balls of your feet and pull them back towards you. Make sure you're sitting with your sitting bones right on the ground and your lower back straight, nothing rounded, okay? And make sure that your feet are active. Notice that my toes are pointed right up to the ceiling. Don't let them go inactive. Make sure that they're active. Okay, so this is where I was today. Notice that my nose is not on my knee, but that's not what I'm after. If you have a bigger stretch than this, go ahead and aim for having your chest on your thighs. You should not be rounding to get your nose to your knee. So it's always flat back, chest to thighs first. But listen, if this is where you're at today, which is where I was at, that's totally okay. As long as you feel a stretch, hold it. Don't overdo it. Just listen to your body. If you're in pain at any point, stop what you're doing. Yeah, no nose to knees, chest to thigh. Yes. Breathe deeply here, pranayama. In through your nose, out through your nose with that constriction in the back of the throat. Should be feeling a really big hammy stretch right there. All right, now we're gonna do a single leg hamstring stretch. So, which leg did I choose? Left leg, bend your left knee. Go ahead and bend your left leg. Place your foot and your right thigh. And so your right leg should be straight, right foot active. Make sure that your your whole body is facing your right leg, so you kind of turn your ribs, and then go ahead and bend over that straight right leg. Make sure your shoulders are down, don't let them creep up. Make sure that your chest is open, you're breathing through your chest. You don't want to have your nose to your knees, you want your chest to your thighs. And yes, keep that toe active, don't let it, kind of just flop to the side. Keep those toes pointed straight to the ceiling because you'll feel that extra stretch there. That's what you want. All right, inhale, switch. I kind of moved over so you guys could see what I was doing. All right, so we have our right leg bent, our left leg out. So go ahead and adjust yourself. Make sure that your chest is over your leg and go ahead and bend forward. Okay, make sure your chest is to your thighs, nose to knee is not what we want. No round in the back. Shoulders down, don't let them creep up. Make sure that you keep your chest open, breathing into the chest. Hold this here. Make sure those toes are active. I'm holding my toes back to make sure they don't flop to the side. Okay, don't forget your pranayama in through the nose. And then out through the nose with that constriction. All right, I got a little lower. Every inhale, we should come forward. With every exhale, we should get into the stretch a little tiny bit deeper. All right, we're gonna go ahead and sit in a alternative lotus pose. So we have both of our feet kind of slapped together in a butterfly position. So we're going to go ahead and do a forward fold Make sure that your hips and your sitting bones are on the ground and your lower back and your whole spine is straight, okay? This is as far as I can get over. If you have a bigger stretch, excellent, but this is where I was today. I felt the stretch here. I inhaled. With every exhale, I moved down a little bit more. All right, so now sit up, and we're going to go ahead and actually have our nose to our toes and do a little bit of a bend over stretch. Don't do this every time, but it's okay to do it sometimes. Excellent. Come on up out of that. All right, we're going to go ahead and lay back onto the mat. Very cool. All right, and what's going to happen now is we're going to go ahead and grab our knees, squeeze them into our chest, and then we're going to move into what's called happy baby. Okay, so go ahead and grab the outside of your feet, and I don't know if you can see, but my knees are aimed towards my armpits, and my lower back is not rounding up. I'm trying to keep my lower back flat on the mat. Okay, so make sure your back is flat and you're holding those legs open and getting that huge hip stretch. Okay, that's a big one, so just be careful with that. All right, go ahead and release those legs. Place your feet on the ground with your knees bent. Make sure that your fingers can touch your heels. So if you can't touch your heels, move your heels back. We're going to go ahead into bridge pose. So go ahead and very gently, there we go, lift your hips. So low back, mid back, maybe upper back off the ground. You can either have your hands pushed down onto the ground. You can either do kind of like a clasped fist, or you can do supported bridge with your hands under your hips. I'm going to go ahead and place my hands just on the mat. Make sure that your shoulders are down. Don't curl your head up, and please don't turn your neck back and forth. Okay. All right. Go ahead and move out of this pose. Open your legs, and then go ahead and put your left hand on your chest, your right hand on your stomach. Breathe deeply. All right. Feet back on the mat. Knees bent. Fingertips should be touching your heels. If not, move your feet back a little bit. Go ahead and lift your hips. Breathe deeply into the stretch into your chest. Don't turn your neck. Don't let your shoulders creep up. Make sure your hips are going straight towards the ceiling, and then go ahead and gently release that. Place your the soles of your feet together, your knees apart, left hand on the chest, right hand on the stomach, and breathe deeply here as a resting pose. We're going to do this, I think, one more time. All right, go ahead and place your feet back on the floor, knees bent. Fingertips should be touching your heels. All right, and get ready to lift those hips. Lift them right towards the ceiling. Try to make this the biggest stretch you can make. Don't forget to breathe. In through your nose. Exhale through your nose with that restriction in the back. All right, go ahead and lower down. Soles touching, knees apart, left hand on your chest, right hand on your stomach to rest. All right, now we're going to go ahead and move into a deeper hip stretch called thread the needle. Go ahead and we're going to work on our right leg first. Go ahead and cross your right ankle over your left knee, and go ahead and place your arms behind your left thigh and just pull all of that towards your chest. Don't forget to breathe. You should be feeling a very good hip stretch here. I'm going to go ahead and hold this for a couple rounds of breathing. You guys can tell we're kind of in a cool down a little bit, so we're almost done and ready for a resting pose. All right, we're going to go ahead and switch. So go ahead and place both feet back on the ground. Left leg, so left ankle over right knee. Go ahead and put both hands and grab behind the right thigh and pull that into your chest for thread the needle pose. Don't forget to breathe, and make sure that those shoulders aren't creeping up. Make sure you keep those shoulders down. All right, we're done there, so go ahead and grab both knees, squeeze them into your chest, and go ahead and do some gentle hip movements. That's kind of like a little bit of a lower back massage. All right, and we're actually gonna move right into our Shavasana. So go ahead and get totally comfortable on your mat. All right, make sure your feet are open and flop to the side. Your arms are about 5 inches away from your hips, and you're just in a completely relaxed place right here. So we're gonna go ahead and rest here for a few moments. Whenever your body moves into Shavasana, it should immediately begin to relax. So close your eyes, breathe deeply, and I'll be right back. All right, so go ahead and start to make some movements in your fingers and toes. Stretch your arms up over your head and do a big long stretch. Go ahead and roll off to the right hand side and kind of curl up into a little ball like you just got out of bed but you're not ready to wake up yet. Go ahead and place your left palm on the ground. Push yourself up to seated position with your legs crossed at the mat. Go ahead and make sure the shoulders stay down. All right, guys, we're done with our practice. Thank you for joining me. Namaste, and I will see you guys here on the mat next time. So thank you so much for joining me here. All right, guys, see you next time. Bye-bye.